Welcome to Looking Within, a podcast for the spiritual explorer in each of us. I'm Julie. I love to explore the inner life using contemplative practices, and I love to help others to do the same. In our time together, I hope you gain a sense of hope, meaning, joy, and love. As a Christian spiritual explorer, I hope to offer some thoughts to help you see God's presence and activity in ever-expanding ways. As you listen, ponder, and experience the divine, feel free to use the spiritual perspective you are most comfortable with in our practice today. Now, let's begin. About a week ago, I began guiding a group of 43 people who signed up for a 40-day journey with TheWelcoming Prayer. For the next month or so, using a booklet from Contemplative Outreach, we'll unpack the prayer through 40 brief daily readings and practices, and meet each week via video chat. We'll be traveling alone, but together. That is, engaging in our own personal journeys while walking with others as we pray, meditate, and work with this prayer practice. You are doing this as well as you listen to this podcast. We're alone, but together as we look at our inner journeys. I'm so glad you're listening today. The Welcoming Prayer was written in the early 1980s by the late Mary Brzezowski, a founding member of Contemplative Outreach and a spiritual seeker of the unmediated presence of God. As a student of the Masters of Christian Spirituality, she valued their wisdom and understood that people needed help in applying this ancient wisdom to everyday life. Mary said her gift was creating how-tos, and therefore developed several prayer practices, including the Welcoming Prayer. She knew that people needed practices on their spiritual journey to help them to let go, to surrender things about their life to God, which enabled them to live more fully in the present moment. These weeks that we're living in now have all kinds of things about them that intrude into our normal life and routines. It's very natural to want things to be different than they are. But it's abundantly clear to me that even in a non-COVID time, I still have all kinds of instances and occasions in life where I resist and resent things that alter my idealized present moment. I see it when I want little tweaks or major changes, or something in between, anything other than the present moment. Perhaps you've also seen this in yourself at times. The Welcoming Prayer is an embodied practice of yes for everyday life. It's a consent on-the-go prayer practice done right in the midst of daily life, and it provides a means for moving deeper into the trust and intimacy with the living God that Jesus experienced. The difficulty we run into, an obstacle to this trust in God, is any inner resistance to life that we experience. Our bodies actually offer us clues to discovering our areas of resistance, which usually fall into 3 areas of human fundamental or biological needs: the need for security and survival, the need for affection and esteem, and the need for power and control. These instinctual needs for security, affection, and control are natural and God-given, but never fully satisfied. Our desire to get these needs met can become so charged that they become what the late Father Thomas Keating called energy centers. When mixed with our ego or false self blindly driving us to acquire security, affection, and control, we find that our usual programs for happiness in life don't work. At least not for long. We exhibit unconscious and knee-jerk behaviors and reactions of frustration, resentment, and resistance to the present moment. Sound familiar? And likely it physically feels familiar too. This resistance to life leads to a certain tenseness or to an edge to us in our voice and body language when we feel our needs aren't met. There are, of course, legitimate, basic human needs to be concerned about and to seek in life. The problem comes when our egos or false selves get involved as we sense things aren't going according to plan, our own private plan. Then we feel the heat of anger or frustration, the tenseness of anxiety, the bad stomach of worry, or any number of physical symptoms signaling that you're upset or frustrated with the present moment, dwelling in the past, or anticipating the future. In a moment, during our quiet time together, I'll invite you to look within to spot these energy centers inside of you. I'll invite you to look at how your need and desire for security, affection, and control play out for you in a non-crisis situation. All three are usually present in some way, but most of us have one that seems more dominant than the others. For example, my dominant energy center is affection. Sometimes if I'm not appreciated, noticed, affirmed, or mentioned as I think I should be, and notice that false self-language of what should occur, I might be suddenly snippy with someone or feel offended or miffed, and I can feel that in my body. Think about where you might be most affected regarding security, affection, and control as we enjoy our quiet moments together. In this quiet space and time, I'd invite you to gently close your eyes. I'll sound the Tibetan singing bowl, which will call you to look within. As you're listening to the bowl's reverberations, take 3 deep breaths. Then let your breathing return to normal whenever you'd like. Hear the sound of the bowl now. Let it center you. Let it remind you that God is here with you. Think about your daily life in regards to our 3 energy centers of security and survival, affection and esteem, and power and control. Think about situations when you see one of these centers inside of you charged and on stage. In these situations, see how you exhibit behaviors or reactions that are not really what you would want them to be. Reactions that hurt others and that don't feel good to you on the inside. These are usually unconscious behaviors and knee-jerk reactions. Begin to notice what triggers you and how you respond. Do you detect any patterns? Does the desire for security or affection or control dominate over the other 2? By noting this, you make something that's usually unconscious conscious, and that's a good thing. I'll be back with you in about 3 minutes. I'd invite you now to take a few deep breaths, in and out, in and out. Let these breaths fill you with strength and energy. Hear me sound the Tibetan singing bowl, and as the sound of the bowl reverberates and slowly dies away, you can gently open your eyes, remaining still for a moment longer. Today we've touched on the welcoming prayer, and we've examined an area that is foundational to this prayer practice. We'll continue to look more at this prayer in the coming weeks. It can be so helpful to identify the energy center that most drives your unconscious reactions to things in everyday life. Once you spot patterns in your behaviors and reactions, and let go of your ego-focused drive to acquire security, affection, and control, you experience a wonderful feeling of freedom as you let God be the source of all that you need. Little by little, you learn how to embrace the present moment just as it is, given to you by the divine and guided by the loving presence of God. Thank you for making time for your inner self today. Whatever you've discovered and experienced, carry that with you in the coming days. You can find more episodes at our website, gloria-day, that's DEI.com/lookingwithinpodcast, or subscribe through your favorite podcast app. We'll see you next time.